The human soul just got mapped, and neuroscientists found its physical coordinates inside your skull. While you've been struggling to crack the code on manifestation, a team at Trinity College, Dublin, achieved the impossible. They tracked quantum mechanics operating inside living brain cells. That nagging sense you get, like there's some cosmic intelligence plugged into your awareness. Science just located the hardware. Here's what probably happened to you. You'd spend months mastering visualization techniques, feeling those elevated emotions, matching the energy of your desires. Then watch some attempts materialize while others vanished into thin air. The missing piece? You were operating quantum broadcasting equipment without understanding the transmission protocols. Tesla decoded this mystery over a century ago with his famous insight about energy, frequency, and vibration being the universe's foundational language. Today's neuroscience finally reveals how consciousness bridges our material world with quantum reality's hidden dimensions. In this video, you'll discover why certain thoughts crystallize into form while others dissolve before reaching manifestation. You'll understand how microscopic brain structures function as biological quantum computers, processing trillions of calculations every second. Most importantly, how to consciously interface with this connection between your mind and the universal quantum field. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This way, YouTube keeps delivering content that bridges cutting-edge science with the spiritual awakening you're experiencing. What you're about to uncover will completely restructure your understanding of your true identity and the dormant power that's been waiting inside your head all along. Let's start with the primary puzzle you need to solve. Why some people manifest tangible results while others get trapped in endless visualization loops without any real-world changes. The answer is literally sitting inside your skull, in a structure science only recently discovered. Every neuron in your brain contains microscopic structures called microtubules. Picture tiny tubular antennas, thinner than a human hair, oscillating at specific frequencies. Stuart Hameroff, an anesthesiologist and consciousness researcher, revealed that these structures aren't just cellular scaffolding. They operate as natural quantum processors. Each microtubule houses approximately 13 protein filaments called tubulins. These tubulins can exist in dual states simultaneously, just like particles in the double-slit experiment. When you direct focused attention towards something specific, these proteins enter quantum superposition, processing millions of possibilities simultaneously until your consciousness selects a particular reality through the observer effect. Here's the first roadblock. Most people don't realize they're operating quantum computers in their heads. They treat their brains like simple linear processors, trying to force positive thoughts over unconscious programming running in the background. It's like trying to install new software on a virus-infected computer. It won't function properly. Tesla understood the hermetic principles governing this connection when he declared that everything in the universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies. He wasn't being poetic. Your brain's microtubules literally vibrate at measurable frequencies, between 8 Hz and 40 Hz, corresponding to the brainwaves you already know: alpha, beta, theta, delta. But here's what few people grasp. These frequencies don't stay trapped inside your skull. They radiate as electromagnetic waves, creating an information field around your body. This field directly interacts with what physicists call the quantum zero-point field, the energetic foundation of all reality. Notice something fascinating. When you're in deep meditative states, your microtubules begin synchronizing their vibrations. Brain imaging shows that experienced meditators develop quantum coherence patterns across multiple brain regions simultaneously. It's like the entire neural orchestra starts playing the same composition. Neville Goddard called this state God consciousness, where your imagination becomes reality's co-creator. Now we understand why. When your microtubules achieve quantum coherence, they become capable of directly influencing wave function collapse around you. Your focused consciousness literally selects which quantum possibilities materialize in your experience. The problem is, most people live in total quantum incoherence. Stress, anxiety, fear, and chaotic mental patterns make microtubules vibrate chaotically. It's like having 1,000 radio stations broadcasting simultaneously. Nothing manifests because there's no clear signal being transmitted. Carl Jung discovered something fascinating while studying his own altered states of consciousness. He recognized deeper layers of mind, the collective unconscious, operating through universal archetypes. Today we understand Jung was describing shared quantum information fields, accessible when our microtubules resonate with specific frequencies. Here's where it gets interesting. Your pineal gland, that small structure in your brain's center, contains magnetite crystals, literally biological magnets. These crystals respond to subtle magnetic fields and electromagnetic frequencies, functioning as an antenna that tunes your consciousness to non-local information. When you practice manifestation techniques, you're essentially programming your microtubules to vibrate at a specific frequency. Visualization, affirmation, and especially authentic emotional feeling create quantum coherence patterns that propagate through the universal information field. But there's an obstacle blocking this process: your unconscious survival patterns. Through millions of years of evolution, your brain was programmed to prioritize threat detection over creating desired realities. This means your microtubules spend most time vibrating at frequencies of fear, scarcity, and limitation. Here's a practical example. Imagine you're trying to manifest financial abundance. You visualize, feel the emotion, raise your vibration, but in the background, your microtubules are processing thousands of limiting beliefs about money, programmed since childhood. These beliefs create quantum incoherence, canceling the signal you're attempting to transmit. The solution isn't fighting these beliefs. That only creates more resistance. The key is understanding how the law of vibration operates at quantum levels. Every emotion you feel corresponds to specific microtubule activity patterns. Gratitude, love, joy, and flow states create coherence. Fear, anger, frustration, and judgment create quantum chaos. Here's a concept few completely understand. The multiverse isn't just abstract scientific theory. Every possibility you can imagine already exists as a parallel timeline in the quantum field. Your conscious choices, mediated by microtubule activity, determine which of these timelines you experience as reality. Think of it this way: you're not creating anything from scratch. You're tuning your consciousness to a specific frequency that allows access to a reality already existing in potential state. It's like changing TV channels. All programs are broadcasting simultaneously, but you only watch what you're tuned to. The observer effect, discovered in quantum physics, operates exactly through this mechanism. When you observe something with focused attention, your microtubules resonate with the observed quantum particles, collapsing their infinite possibilities into specific experience. Tesla knew this when developing his resonance-based technologies. He discovered that when two waves vibrate at the same frequency, they amplify each other. The same happens between your consciousness and reality. When you maintain quantum coherence long enough, external reality begins resonating and reflecting your internal patterns. Here's something surprising. Recent research shows people with psychic abilities possess specific genetic variations affecting microtubule function. They literally were born with neurological hardware more sensitive to non-local quantum information. But this doesn't mean you need to be born with these abilities. Neuroplasticity, the brain's capacity to reorganize, allows you to develop greater quantum sensitivity through specific practices: meditation, fasting, controlled cold exposure, and other consciousness-expanding techniques literally modify your microtubule structure. The question you need to ask isn't, "Why can't I manifest?" The correct question is, what frequency are my microtubules vibrating at most of the time? Because that's the reality you'll continue experiencing. There are moments in your life when everything flows perfectly. Coincidences happen, opportunities appear, the right people cross your path. During these moments, your microtubules are in total quantum coherence, and you become a magnet for experiences aligned with your vibration. The challenge is learning to access this state consciously instead of waiting for it to happen by chance. And for that, you need to understand there's no separation between internal and external. Your consciousness and physical reality are aspects of a single interconnected quantum system. Tell me in the comments, have you ever had an experience where you felt your mind was connected to something greater? Maybe during meditation, in nature, or in a moment of deep insight. These experiences are direct evidence of your microtubules operating in quantum coherence. Now let's dive into the second level of this discovery: how your individual consciousness connects with what Jung called the collective unconscious, and how you can use this connection to exponentially amplify your manifestation results. There's a pulsating electromagnetic field around Earth called Schumann resonance. This natural planetary frequency vibrates primarily at 7.83 Hz, exactly in the same range as alpha brainwaves, the state associated with creativity, intuition, and non-linear connections. This isn't coincidence. When astronauts stay outside Earth's atmosphere for extended periods, they develop symptoms of disorientation, fatigue, and cognitive problems. This happens because their microtubules lose synchronization with the natural planetary frequency. When they return to Earth or are exposed to Schumann resonance simulators, symptoms disappear. This reveals something profound. You're not an isolated system. Your microtubules constantly synchronize with much larger information fields: planetary, solar, galactic. Your individual consciousness is a node in a quantum network extending throughout the known universe. Rupert Sheldrake, biologist and consciousness researcher, proposed morphogenetic field theory, non-physical information patterns organizing the form and behavior of all living systems. These fields explain how knowledge and behavioral patterns can spread instantaneously through populations, even without direct communication. Notice how some ideas seem to emerge simultaneously in different parts of the world. Multiple inventors develop the same technology simultaneously. Artists create similar works without ever meeting, Social movements emerge globally, following almost identical patterns. This happens because consciousness is tuned to the same frequency, access the same morphogenetic information fields. Your microtubules function as antennas for these fields. When you enter quantum coherent states through spiritual practices, you're not just organizing your own consciousness, you're connecting with a much larger collective intelligence. Here's something that will reorganize your understanding of prayer and intention. When you focus attention on a specific intention, you're literally feeding energy into a morphogenetic field related to that intention. Every person who ever desired the same thing contributed to strengthening that possibility field. This is why certain manifestations seem easier than others. It's not because some are more possible. It's because some already have more established morphogenetic fields. Manifesting love, health, abundance, and peace has support from millions of consciousnesses that have focused on these intentions throughout human history. But here's the most fascinating aspect. You can also create completely new morphogenetic fields. Every invention, artistic discovery, or social innovation began with an individual consciousness accessing possibilities that didn't yet exist in the collective field. Tesla wasn't just inventing technologies, he was downloading information from pure potentiality fields through his highly sensitized microtubules. He reported that his inventions came to him complete, as if he were simply tuning into a frequency where these technologies already existed. Jung discovered this, studying synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem orchestrated by superior intelligence. He noticed these events increased dramatically when someone was going through spiritual awakening or profound transformation. Now we know why. During consciousness expansion periods, your microtubules become hypersensitive to non-local information patterns. You begin perceiving subtle connections between events, people, and opportunities that were always there, but your normal consciousness couldn't detect. Some theoretical physicists propose our reality might be a holographic projection of information encoded in higher dimensions. From this perspective, your microtubules would function as interfaces, decoding this information into three-dimensional experiences. Whether this is literally true or just a useful metaphor doesn't matter. What matters is that you can consciously modify the codes your microtubules are processing through specific mental programming techniques. Neville Goddard developed a precise method for this. He discovered the state between waking and sleep, when microtubules are naturally in quantum coherence, is the ideal window for implanting new reality patterns. In this state, called the hypnagogic state, your unconscious mind becomes more receptive to new programming. The process is simple, but requires discipline. You enter this relaxed state and vividly imagine a scene implying your desire's fulfillment. Not the fulfillment itself, but a scene that could only happen if your desire were already reality. You repeat this scene until it becomes more real than your current reality. This works because your microtubules can't distinguish between vividly imagined experience and real physical experience. When you genuinely feel you already possess what you desire, you're programming your quantum processors to vibrate at that reality's frequency. But there's a crucial component most people miss. You need to emotionally detach from the outcome. This might sound contradictory, but detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means trusting the holographic universe will reorganize circumstances, to reflect your new internal state. You have total control over your internal states, thoughts, the motions, microtubule vibrational patterns. You don't control how or when these internal changes manifest externally. Your only responsibility is maintaining the frequency. Imagine your microtubules as musicians in an orchestra. When everyone plays in harmony, the emerging music resonates throughout reality's auditorium. But if each musician tries controlling what others are playing, the result is cacophony. Most people oscillate between two dysfunctional states: anxious obsession, trying to control every manifestation detail, or skeptical doubt, constantly questioning whether the process is working. Both create quantum incoherence that sabotages the process. The ideal state is what Hermetic principles call operative faith, calm, unshakable trust that the law of vibration is always operating perfectly. You plant the intention seed in your microtubules through regular practices, then allow quantum intelligence to organize the details. There's a fascinating phenomenon confirming all this: quantum immortality. Some physicists propose consciousness is never truly destroyed. It just changes frequency, accessing parallel timelines where continuity is maintained. This would explain near-death experiences where people report encounters with deceased loved ones. If this is true, it means all your departed loved ones continue existing at specific frequencies, accessible when your microtubules achieve adequate resonance. Many people report vivid dreams or visits from deceased people during grief or stress periods. This might be real communication through quantum information fields. Here's something practical you can experiment with. Choose an important person in your life, living or deceased, and dedicate a few minutes daily sending love and gratitude in their direction. Don't force any kind of response. Just transmit the intention and observe what happens. Many people report impressive synchronicities. The living person calls out of nowhere. Opportunities related to that person appear, or they receive relevant information through third parties. If the person has died, signs, meaningful dreams, or comforting presence sensations may emerge. This happens because love is one of the most coherent frequencies your microtubules can generate. Genuine love creates resonance fields extending through time and space, connecting consciousnesses regardless of physical limitations. Carl Jung called this mystical participation, a state where boundaries between self and non-self temporarily dissolve, revealing consciousness's fundamental interconnectivity. Spiritual traditions from all cultures develop techniques to access these states: meditation, prayer, fasting, sacred dance, ritual use of power plants. What all these practices share is synchronizing microtubules in coherence patterns that transcend ordinary survival programming. In this expanded state, you can access information, perspectives, and possibilities normally outside your conscious radar. Some people are born with this sensitivity, naturally developed. Recent research identified specific genetic variations in people with psychic abilities, alterations mainly affecting genes related to sensory processing and immune function. This suggests mediumship might have measurable neurological foundations. But even those not born with this predisposition can develop greater sensitivity through consistent practices. Your microtubules are plastic structures responding to repeated use, like muscles strengthening with exercise. The key is understanding you're already constantly receiving subtle information through your microtubules. The difference between sensitive and normal people isn't the capacity to receive. It's the ability to interpret and trust received information. You probably never noticed, but you've likely had hundreds of intuitive knowledge experiences. Knowing who is calling before answering the phone, feeling discomfort in specific places, having insights about people that later confirmed, dreaming about events that happened. Modern society teaches us to dismiss these experiences as coincidence or imagination. But when you understand your microtubules constantly process non-local quantum information, these experiences become natural evidence of your consciousness functioning correctly. The question isn't whether you have special abilities. The question is, are you paying attention to the subtle information your microtubules are already constantly capturing? There's a specific technique combining everything we've discussed here, a way to consciously align your microtubules with frequencies you want to manifest. But this technique involves something most people fear doing: completely silencing the chattering mind and entering direct contact with quantum intelligence operating beyond thoughts. The next video appearing on your screen will expand even further this understanding you're developing about how your consciousness really functions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.